What began in 2002 as a partner line to the already successful Spider-Man classics now consists of hundreds of different characters, designs, costumes, accessories, variants, technical and industry innovations. It bridges two different companies, and its success has made it the standard for 6-inch figures around the world. There are lots of amazing figures, but with the light comes the dark, with the exceptional comes the regrettable. Hi, I'm Dan Larson, and this is the 10 Worst Marvel Legends Volume 2. You don't have to watch Volume 1 first, but don't not watch it. We did Volume 1 back in December of 2016 and limited it to just the Hasbro era from 2007 on. At that time, Toy Galaxy was a lot smaller, and I established my own criteria to determine which figures would qualify as the worst. It was basically one person voting on behalf of everyone. For Volume 2, we put the task to you to tell us what should rank down there at the bottom. We reached out to our Patreon, to the action figure subreddit, to Twitter, and to our Facebook and collected hundreds of votes. There were no guidelines, no limitations. We just tossed it out there and let the votes go wherever they went. 118 different figures got votes. These are the 10 that got the most to make them the worst. Number 10 is 2012 Hasbro ARNIM ZOLA Wave FANTOMEX. FANTOMEX may have been released in 2012, but his DNA is from 2008 when Hasbro was still experimenting with the aesthetics of the line. He is a repaint of a kit-bashed parts from both 2008 Ultimate Nick Fury and 2008 Wolverine in his Jim Lee designed standard issue X-Men uniform. Their powers combined into a figure that severely underdelivered on a fan-favorite character and lacked the ability to put his arms down relaxed by his side, as did every character that would end up wearing that same Nick Fury coat year after year. A release made doubly unfortunate by the fact that he appeared in the same wave as Bucky Cap, who was the model for the new Marvel Legends base body for the line through today. Number 9 is 2007 Hasbro Brood Queen Wave Bucky. Marvel Legends can be broken down into two eras, the TOYBIZ era from 2002 through 2006, and the Hasbro era from 2007 through today. The Hasbro era can further be broken down into totally just mailing it in and, oh wait, we paid money for this, we should try to do something with this license. Unfortunately for Buck, he falls into the totally mailing it in Hasbro era, featuring a gangly assortment of joints, a head that seems small even for a more youthful character, and a total lack of accessories, which ultimately isn't that big a deal, given that he has finger joints that only serve to prevent him from ever holding any kind of weapon at all. Number 8 is 2015 Hasbro HULKBUSTER Wave Blizzard. Blizzard returns from Volume 1 holding down his spot on the worst list, but dropping from number 6 to number 8, which means that time is on his side. All he has to do is wait it out, and sooner or later, much later, maybe he can wait his way into the 10 best Marvel Legends. Other than being a repaint of a totally generic, unadorned, standard male body representing a totally generic, unremarkable Iron Man villain, what's not to not like? Number 7 is 2018 Hasbro THANOS Wave Captain America. Voting for this list reflected some of the raw emotions still swirling just below the surface, too fresh to let go. For such a modern figure to make this list, there had to be something else going on, causing so many to reject it wholesale and power it onto the list ahead of the hundreds of other figures released before it. The movie did well at the box office, so it's not a matter of fans not wanting a figure of Infinity War Captain America. Rather, they wanted a figure that looked like Infinity War Captain America. Hasbro's new face printing technology should have made this a lock for the best Chris Evans likeness ever, but it's not. Out of context, I never would have said that head was based on Chris Evans. And to further that point, I ran a photo of that action figure's head through Google image search, and wouldn't you know, it returned a bunch of pictures of Ryan Gosling. Number 6 is 2007 Hasbro Blob Series Ultimate Wolverine. Like Blizzard, time has been kind to Ultimate Wolverine. In 2 years, he slid 3 spots from number 3 to number 6. Then and now, all it takes is one look at this figure's face to tell you everything you need to know about his inclusion. Even a non-figure collector would have to say, yeah, that makes sense. I could go on about the aesthetic and engineering issues with this figure, his rubbery claws and single-jointed elbows, but I think the fact that he was packed with the blob Build-A-Figure's butt speaks volumes. Number 5 is 2002 TOYBIZ Series 3 movie Daredevil. It's almost not fair to include a figure from so early in the line, but if it were just about being early in the line, then this entire list would be from the first 3 waves. No, movie Daredevil is an exceptional case since he's really more of a hybrid figure with a structural composition that has elements of earlier TOYBIZ lines, but also rolls in some of the elements that were becoming the hallmarks of the Marvel Legends at the time. He's an enigma with his single-jointed hips and shoulders, but individually articulated fingers? Who does that? It's not the worst likeness in the world. The thing that really makes this figure rank so high is that outdated, even for 2002, set of articulation. A little more flexibility and no one would have even remembered this thing existed. Yes, being forgotten would have been the preferred outcome. Number 4 is 2018 Hasbro Monster Venom Wave Spider-Ham. This is dumb. Why are you even doing this one? He made the most wanted list 3 years running. This has to be some kind of organized attack intended to undermine a classic, beloved Marvel character making his debut in the Marvel Legends, coordinated by a bunch of haters who probably smell. Spider-Ham received the 4th highest votes submitted by the ignorant, smelly...
Read it right.
Spider-Ham received the 4th highest votes submitted by the participants of Toy Galaxy polling. This is reflective of the collectors who were disappointed with the execution of Spider-Ham and the price point it was released at. The Toy Galaxy voters feel that Hasbro did not treat this figure as a legitimate release, resulting in a disproportionate backlash of disappointment from the fan community and a top 4 ranking on the worst Marvel Legends list. This opinion does not necessarily represent the official opinion of the very smart, very handsome...
Just read it.
This opinion does not necessarily represent the official opinion of Toy Galaxy or its staff members. Number 3 is 2003 TOYBIZ X-Men Legends box set Rogue. Women, how do they work? Look, there's no such thing as a good TOYBIZ female figure. As long as it took for TOYBIZ to get into a groove when it came to the male figures, they never figured out the women. There are TOYBIZ designers still trying to put the pieces together over a decade after they went out of business. Got him. Rogue is a prime example of everything that could go wrong going wrong. It is a labor of failed execution from top to bottom. There is no peaceful place for the eye to rest. The only solution to trying to make her hips work was to keep adding joints to her hips as though they worked differently from the male figure's hips. Just when you think you've seen the worst of her, you realize that you are awake and this is actually happening. There is no era in which this was a passable figure, no era in which anyone was happy to add this to their collection. Number 2 is 2005 TOYBIZ Legendary Rider Scarlet Witch. 2 years after Rogue, and TOYBIZ had, I hesitate to say that they made improvements, they made changes to their female-based structure and articulation. They were closer than ever to actually having a functional, working, human-female action figure form, but couldn't solve the riddle of gravity or where to place joint cuts or how many joints an ankle should have without compromising the ability to, stand. It's a figure that really suffers from an overabundance of articulation where it seemed like every solution to every problem was adding another joint. Aesthetics were completely abandoned, chasing the points of articulation dragon as if that call out on the box would sell the figure over, looking at the actual figure. And at number 1, 2006 Hasbro Annihilus Wave Emma Frost. Look, I don't like to be negative. I adopted a personal philosophy that I try to stick to when it comes to reviewing action figures. 1, every action figure is someone's favorite whether you like it or not. 2, real people worked very hard to make this thing a reality, even if it came out like a hot, wet sack of garbage. No one set out to make a bad thing. They set out to make a good thing, and bad things happened along the way. It doesn't make those good people bad people. And 3, if you can't find something nice to say about a figure, try to say something funny. Based on that criteria, all I can say about this figure is that Hasbro did release a Toys R Us exclusive, partially translucent variant a year later in 2007. And that's great because at least on that version, half of her is almost invisible. That's the 10 Worst Marvel Legends Volume 2. Some movers up and down the chart, but ultimately a 70% turnover rate from Volume 1 in defense of my choices in Volume 1. Some of the figures that ranked here didn't exist yet. Thanks for watching. Please hit like, hit subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Thank you very much to those of you who are. Share this video, and if you're in the position to help the channel grow, hit up our Patreon at patreon.com/toygalaxy. Huge thanks to everyone who participated in the voting for the list on Patreon, Facebook, Twitter, and the action figure subreddit. If you're not already following us or active in one of those communities, get on it. Also, we didn't do any voting there, but follow me on Instagram at Toy Galaxy. This was definitely eye-opening. There were some very unexpected choices made by several of you, but I'm sure there are some pieces that should have been included. Let us know down in the comments below. I'm still holding a personal grudge against Cosmic Iron Man, but only because I think it's the worst thing ever. That's the only reason.
Cut.